We're going to get to all of your headlines first, but first we're going to take a live look out over downtown Denver. The sun is coming up. I have been waiting for Sunday because it's actually going to be very nice out today. I am here for it.
Once we get past that cold weather, though, 24 degrees outside right now.
I'm ignoring
a nice
that.
Chilly morning to start the day.
I'm not looking at that corner. I'm just looking at what's happening in the afternoon.
We'll take that. We'll just skip ahead to the afternoon.
That's what I would like to do. This morning, we want to see what brought you joy this week. You can text us at 303-871-1491 or post them to social media using the hashtag 9newsmornings. We're going to be sharing them throughout the show. Good morning, everyone. Anusha here along with Mark and Greg.
Thanks for starting your day with us.
All right. This is it, right?
It's my big day.
This is your big day.
You can finally tell us some good news.
This is your time to shine.
65 and sunny.
Yay!
There you go. That's the weather.
All righty, see you later.
See you later.
No, it's going to be a great day. Yesterday, a little chilly. We got some sunshine,
though. It
though.
wasn't terrible, actually.
No, it started off with sunny skies, a few more clouds in the afternoon, but definitely not as bad as some people thought it was going to be.
Yesterday was a good day to prepare the yard.
That's exactly right.
Bit of yard work. Get ready for today.
Yeah, and get outside today. Enjoy these conditions because they're going to be picture perfect. Let's get a look at the forecast for us as we are in for high temperatures in the middle 60s. But as Mark so beautifully talked about earlier, it's a little chilly out there. 24 degrees. It's certainly on the colder side of things. We're expecting temperatures to top out in the 60s this afternoon. But as I said, on the chillier side of things this morning. 65 and sunny. That's the name of the game. Sunny and much warmer than today. Winds not too bad, coming out of the south anywhere between 5 to 15 miles per hour. So that's a nice warm breeze for us. Overnight low temperatures tonight in the 30s and 40s. Highs tomorrow back in the 60s and nearing 70 degrees for some areas, feeling more and more like summer. Details in just a few minutes.
So much for that, Greg. We want to start with developing news. Denver police say 2 juvenile victims were taken to the hospital after a shooting overnight. This was around 4 a.m. when police said they were investigating this shooting on the 21,000 block of East 48th Place. Looks like a neighborhood in Green Valley Ranch area. The 2 victims were taken to the hospital in a private vehicle. They are working on more suspect information.
And at the same time, Denver police also shared that 3 cars were involved in a hit-and-run crash on northbound I-25 right near I-70. One person was taken to the hospital with some serious injuries. We know to expect some delays in that area if you're headed out that way this morning.
Abortion right activists held a rally outside the U.S. Supreme Court supporting access to abortion medication. On Friday, the Supreme Court put a temporary hold on the ruling out of Texas that would limit access to the abortion pill mifepristone. Now, the FDA says mifepristone is a safe way to end a pregnancy through 10 weeks. Last week's ruling from a district judge in Texas would withdraw the FDA's approval of the drug. The Supreme Court isn't rejecting that ruling, but pausing it while justices figure out what parts of it might stay in place. Doctors have been using this drug for 2 decades.
I am just tired of spending a literal decade of my life training to provide health care to people and then doing that for 8 years to provide safe abortion care for my community, to have all of my practice around medication abortion change overnight by some judge. A judge with no medical expertise.
On Friday, Democratic Governor Jared Polis signed a package of bills to protect and increase abortion access here in Colorado.
This week, the Biden administration announced a plan to help more DACA recipients get health insurance by expanding Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act to people who fall under that plan. DACA allows people brought to the United States as children to work. Our Luis De Leon takes a closer look at the impact the proposal could have here in Colorado.
For Marissa Molina, understanding barriers comes from lived experience.
So I had DACA for 9 out of almost the 11 years that DACA has been in place. I can tell you that until I got my first job out of college in 2014, I had DACA, but I didn't have access to healthcare.
Today, she helps others understand that system, now a trustee at Metropolitan State University of Denver and a regional government affairs director for the organization Forward.us. Accessing healthcare is one of the barriers she's been working on.
And I can tell you that from meeting with our Immigrant Student Services Director and our students themselves, so many of them are not able to afford healthcare because they can't pay for private health insurance.
But changes proposed on the federal level may soon impact Coloradans here. Information released from the White House explained that the Department of Health and Human Services will propose a rule that amends the definition of lawful presence, specifically when it comes to Medicaid and Affordable Care Act coverage, to include DACA recipients. The goal is to get the proposed rule done by the end of the month. If it's finalized, it would be the first time that DACA recipients are eligible for those healthcare programs.
And I've worked with institutions of higher ed across the state of Colorado, one of them also being CSU. And one of the things we were seeing with students is they couldn't have their wisdom teeth pulled because they didn't have access to dental insurance.
Forward.us's analysis of federal citizenship and immigration data found that nearly half of DACA recipients in Colorado have no medical insurance.
And that's incredibly important, especially when DACA recipients in our immigrant community carry so much stress and trauma from their own lived experiences as immigrants in this country.
So nationwide, nearly half of the people here under DACA without medical insurance would be eligible to get coverage under Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act if this gets finalized.
And for the first time in years, people on Medicaid will need to renew their Medicaid eligibility. This is called redetermination, and it's impacting around 1.6 million people in Colorado. The continuous coverage requirement put in place during the pandemic, it ended this month, and folks on Medicaid will have to go through this process at some point in the next year.
There will be folks who lose their Medicaid coverage and need to make some choices about where else they want to get coverage, health insurance.
Now, Colorado's Access is sending text messages and emails to remind people that their renewal is approaching. So a heads up that it's not a scam. You will need to fill out a paper or electronic application during your renewal month.
This morning, pre-evacuation notices are still in place in Pueblo County for a fire investigators believe was started by humans. A brush fire forced people living in 20 homes to evacuate. Now those people and their livestock can go back home, but are being told to stay ready to leave in case the fire gets worse again. The Pueblo County Sheriff's Office says they have a person of interest they believe may have started the fire. The North Creek fire burning in Beulah near the Pueblo-Custer County line. That's the National Weather Service is now warning that fire danger will increase today and over the next week with dry and windy conditions moving into the area.
This weekend, the community and loved ones held a vigil for the man who died in an apartment fire last week. This happened in Ivy Crossing in Arapahoe County, right on the edge of southeast Denver. 3 people were hurt, 1 person died. At a vigil last night, family members identified him as 28-year-old Hayden Warlick. Some people were forced to jump from their balconies to escape that day. Investigators say the fire was human-caused, but aren't saying what exactly caused it.
And nearly a year and a half after the most destructive wildfire in Colorado history burned more than 1,000 homes, recovery continues. Builders, contractors, and financial companies are on hand ready to help Marshall Fire survivors at a rebuilding expo this weekend. It's all happening in Louisville, one of the communities most hard hit by the fire. More than 40 booths offering information for support, and folks who still need help are there. Everything from insurance companies to builders to people who can help navigate financial challenges for survivors. Out of the more than 1,000 homes destroyed, just 460 families have rebuilding permits right now.
There's a lot of work that's been done over the last year or so, just trying to decide, do we want to build the same house? Do we want to build a different house? One that we can age in, so to speak?
For many families who lost their home in the fire, living expenses and rental assistance from their insurance ends in December. So there's another added pressure and stress on families right now to get back into permanent housing as quickly as possible.
And we're still waiting to hear what caused the Marshall fire. The Boulder County Sheriff says evidence suggests the fire started in more than one place. They say it's possible a couple fires started almost at the same time and then turned into one big fire. In late December, then Sheriff Joe Pelley said the investigation was in its final stages. Last week, the Sheriff's Office said they have no update on when that will be released.
So you don't hear about this every day. For one day this month, some people in Colorado can get their active warrants forgiven without being arrested. The First Judicial DA's office is forgiving certain low-level warrants for people in Jefferson and Gilpin counties with nonviolent misdemeanors, traffic offenses, and certain probation violations. Most felony warrants will not be forgiven. This is happening Saturday, May 6th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Jefferson County Administration and Courts facility in Golden. Jefferson County says the Fresh Start event will also cut down on costs to taxpayers and allow law enforcement to focus on some more serious crimes.
The Nuggets, they're getting ready for the playoffs. We're going to hear from the coach about their headspace ahead.